Thanks
It's
for
a
having me.
beautiful day out here, huh?
I know this is the closest I've seen you, except for driving past you in your running gear.
Oh yeah, a couple waves here and there.
Yeah, you guys are pretty intense in your runs.
So, well, thanks for joining. I don't know if you've seen some of the lives I've done, but I've done a couple different lives the last couple weeks with people from all different industries, and talking to various different New Yorkers. And when I kind of heard what you were doing with your three businesses and how you've adapted, I kind of wanted to talk to you and hear how everything's going. So,
Oh, you're so sweet.
looking
I feel
forward.
I feel like there's so many celebrities before me. I'm like, oh my God, so famous.
Uh-oh. Yeah.
Watch out, Don and Tim. Here I come.
Yeah, Don's on another call. It's like trying to figure out where to do these things and
I know. I
find
feel.
some
I
quiet space.
feel. I feel that you guys, that you might be taking over his spot right now. His highlight, his sunlight in your new
Uh-oh.
Instagram lives. I know. We won't talk about it.
Yeah. Do you remember that? I remember the first time I had known your family, but I remember when we first all met together.
Yeah.
We were at our mutual friend Chad's house,
Yeah.
and Don was like grilling you, and I was like, Don, relax a little bit, like.
Um, he was interviewing me, but he was interviewing me in a creepy way. He asked me for my address. Do you remember
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, he kept like grilling down, like he wanted to know exactly where you live, what
And I
street.
hadn't figured it out yet, which is like the blondest moment of my career. But anyway, and I was like, who is this guy? Seriously. It took me a little bit of time.
Yeah,
And then I was like, oh, I like them. And you were friends with my sister, so it's so cool.
exactly. Yep, all good. So let's see. The vineyard, the clothing store, the restaurant. You have a lot going on.
Yes.
Talk to us
Everybody
kind of
has a lot
about.
going on.
Yeah, talk to us about. I know like quarantine on Long Island is coming to an end, but um, how was quarantining for you and a mom of two? And
I found we actually happened to be in Florida at the time, and I found the first 2 weeks to be like 2 years of my life.
okay,
I felt, I don't know how you guys out there felt, but it was probably some of the scariest time in my life thus far. Just kind of navigate and really like figure out my identity in that time. One of the first things I did was just start art projects with my kids. And, at that time, somebody reached out from the local community out here and said, would you ever consider selling what you're doing for the Bridgehampton Center? And I was like, absolutely. I would love to put my energy into something positive and to have something to work towards, and gave me kind of purpose every day. So that was kind of my first thing that I know I needed to do. And, I think the hardest part was remaining positive for my kids who are 2 and 4, who don't understand a pandemic, a world crisis, any of this. And you can't explain it to them either. So, keeping a smiling face when you're all kind of trapped is definitely difficult. And I'm obviously know how lucky I am. So I think that was particularly hard, is just, being okay with feeling all those things.
yep. So when the pandemic started, did you shut down all three businesses or?
It took a little bit longer out here, but yes, pretty much. I think it was like a week maybe behind the stores and all of that, but yes, it was just we knew we needed to do it, and we felt like on every angle, okay, this is what everyone's doing, and this is what we have to do right now, and we'll figure it out. And Max is my husband, is the boss, the CEO of the company, especially of Wölffer, and his idea was this rosé drive-through, which I might be jumping ahead, but he thought like how we were lucky because liquor, for some reason liquor was an essential business, which now I'm kind of understanding. I think it kind of got a lot of us through this crisis.
Yeah.
But not that we're through it, but and so I think that he was like, how can we do this in the safest way possible for our employees and for our customers? And so it was like still winter, March out here, and so they were out there in their hats and their warm gear selling wine on the highway, and it really took off. And I think it gave some people something to look forward to. It was kind of friendly faces and everybody trying to navigate like the hardest thing in our lives together.
Yep.
And I had to make in retail, I had to make a tough decision of closing my Palm Beach store, which, felt rash, but it was also like, I kind of said to myself, like, it's now or never, and these decisions are hard, but I've reinvented myself before and I'll do it again. And I just got to do this right now. I got to kind of limit myself. And, we've sold our Sag Harbor restaurant, just kind of face reality and recreate yourself and work with the times and do what you feel is right. And, try not to expose yourself too much. So that's kind of what we've been doing.
So the clothing store went online, right?
So we're all online. We still have our Sag Harbor spot, which I'll always have. I also realize that I have such a great market out here in the Hamptons, and this is my home and where I raise my family and really where I feel at home. And I'm able now to really, I think we've all had to navigate the web a little bit better. And so I think I've gotten much better at that. And I have an incredible team of two for my own clothing stores, and everybody just got to work, and it's been amazing. And I think my biggest focus was how can I keep employees, everybody working. So, thank God for the PPP and and that obviously got us through the first 2 months, but we're still navigating.
Navigating. Okay. And then, so we did the vineyard, the store, and the restaurant in Amagansett.
Yes. So we're doing takeout there. We've applied for our outdoor seating license, and you just have to work with the town on that. But the takeout has been great, and we're able to sell wine, which bottles of wine, which has helped a lot. And again, you're just working with what you got, and the goal is to keep the businesses afloat and to keep your people employed and and safe. I think that's the thing. I had an employee yesterday come to me and just say thank you so much and for keeping us going and for keeping this business alive. And I mean, I can't do it without any of them, and that's
correct.
And also just everybody putting themselves out there and really at risk. At a certain point, we thought, like, if we walked out the front door, we were going to get sick. Now we're sort of navigating in a different way. But
technology I know in real estate, technology has taken over, our business. And I think, how we are going to be forced to pivot, in showing apartments and even doing meetings with clients. How have you guys started to use way more technology in the businesses?
It's funny because that was like the first thing that I thought of was how do we keep people still engaged, like in our brands that are so service oriented, and just bring up, like the winery for sure brings a lot of joy to people. So we immediately started these virtual tastings, and you could kind of sign up a group of friends and do these tastings with Roman and our assistant winemaker, Miguel. And those really took off. And it was a way to engage. It was a way for people to taste the wine. It was a way to feel like you were learning something and including in something that was outside of your immediate world. I think we're all super stressed with our jobs or lost our jobs,
Yep.
So I think that that for sure was like bringing people into our worlds. And with my store, we did a lot of like trying on in the store. We did a lot of, customers would call and we do a virtual shopping experience. And then, and the restaurant, it's just really like, we went online, you're able to order online, which makes it so much easier for everyone really, because you're more accurate in your timing and it goes directly to the kitchen. So we've all gotten a lot more tech savvy and more Instagram Live.
Can you tell us a little bit, about the virtual tastings? So how does that work? Like, how does that actually work?
So it's through our events team organizes it, and usually it's kind of up to 20 people, and you order, it's a package, so you get your wine and you get, the lesson, and the wine gets delivered right before your tasting. And then it's all virtual, and they're in our cellar. We set up for that.
Cool. And then as you look forward towards the summer, like what kind of changes? Because I know now restaurants can open outdoors, and obviously I'm assuming the vineyard will be.
Well, so today's our first day. I'm actually at the wine stand checking it out. And it's the spacing. I think we've done 9-foot spacing between tables. And we're going to limit it to 8 people per party. And it's reservation only until we can kind of figure out how to do it. I think it's like, it's something I thought about the whole time is you still want to maintain the experience. And I think if you allow too many people or you allow people to just walk in, then you can't control the experience. And that's so important in a brand, and that's important to us. And obviously we're a family brand that's been around for, over 30 years, and we hope to be around for longer. So I think, making sure that the experience is still good and it's still safe.
Yep. And, running these various different businesses, what advice can you give to small business owners, even as a small real estate team?
Yep.
I think keeping up team morale and making sure everyone's always in contact, what advice do you have for other small business owners? What's worked?
It's funny. I mean, I really commend my husband for this because he stayed really rational and strong the whole time, and I'm definitely more emotional. Sorry, Max, if you're listening. But I think it's none of us know what's really happening. We're all trying to navigate it. We're all getting the same information, and I think it's just staying strong, staying positive as you can be, and also knowing that there is an end to this at some point, and also accepting that maybe the way you're doing something isn't going to work going forward. And that's a hard reality. Closing a store that I, had dreamed of was really hard for me. But I also said, what does the world look like for the next 3-5 years? It's not the same. It's not going to be the same. The economy is obviously tanking, and people are going to look at luxury fashion in a very different way. So how can I morph myself, accept that this is not the right thing, and know that I can do something going forward, different going forward? So I think it's just kind of accepting that things might change a little bit, but being okay with it, like you are with your videoing your houses. It's that's definitely a new way of doing it, but I think it's okay. We'll get used to it. We get used to wearing a mask. We get used to not being able to sit inside with other people. We get used to it.
Totally. So New York City. I know you used to live in New York.
We still have an apartment actually in New York.
Still have an apartment.
Yeah.
Okay. So what are your personal thoughts? And then I'd love to just kind of hear what you're hearing. I know you have a lot of friends, in between New York City, and what are you hearing?
Yeah. I don't support that New York is over for this whole thing that everyone's leaving New York. I think New York is one of the most amazing cities in the world, and it's had so many lives. It's had so many reinventions, and I think maybe for the next 5 years it's going to have to rebuild for sure. We have a renter whose her rent is due in September, is up in September. Have I considered the fact that might not be as easy to rent, or we might have to go down on our price? Yes. Again, morphing with the times. I'm holding on to that apartment. I'm not going to fire sell that apartment. I know that New York will come back. It'll come back stronger than ever. And it does time and time again. I mean, it's so, I think people will be out here for the next year for sure. I think especially people with kids, they're sort of don't know how they're going to navigate New York in the way that it is. And if school doesn't happen, there's kind of feels no point to be in the city, if everyone's working from home. And so I think those that have the luxury to be out here, that's great. But I still think New York is an amazing city, and it will recover.
Yep. You guys have that fun family fall day. Are you planning with all of that in mind? Planning more
the harvest
activity?
Party. We haven't, again, I think each week is a different week. We haven't even discussed it. I'm not going to discuss it because I think, somebody gave me advice once and they said, keep planning, knowing that things will change, and we will keep planning it. And it's, as of right now, it is what it is. It'll be a different version. It won't be 1,000 people, of course, but we just have to go with it and see how it goes, see how things change. And maybe this is a year that it's a different harvest party, and that's okay.
Cool. Shifting gears a little bit to your home, your beautiful home that we've been lucky to visit. Having spent so much time at home and noticing, have you realized any changes that you guys might make or want to make?
We've been insane. I mean, I have more energy than anybody in the world. So when you lock me up, I'm like, So we created a gym in our basement because we have to get the energy out. And we completely, it's not like we didn't do a lot of spending. We kind of like used what we had, but we had a lot of fun, and we painted, and we were doing lights outside, and we brought heat lamps from the winery because we weren't using them, so that we were able to sort of see my mom and be outside, and kind of just like made the house something where we're like really okay with being stuck there. If that makes sense. And our kids we built a sand pit for them.
Fun.
Very exciting.
Yeah.
So just like I'm really happy at home. I've never appreciated my home more than I do now, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I think everybody's noticing changes and little things they can make and adaptations. And again, those things we've all been putting off or thought about.
Yeah.
Definitely been doing those ourselves. So we mentioned you are a mom of two. As much as you want to talk, like how is that been, like homeschooling and balancing?
I mean, I'm so lucky because my kids they're in preschool. I mean, one's in nursery and one's in preschool. I mean, watching my friends teach, like my patience is that of a flea. Like I just unfortunately don't have a tremendous patience. I'm working on it. Yeah. But the hardest thing for me is like they don't understand. So when they say, well, why can't we see our friends? And you're like, well, the virus. And my daughter just says, but when's the virus gone? When's it leaving? Like, I really wish I had an end date. I wish I had an end date for you. We started to see sort of some children, that are like in our kind of tight group, because honestly, I was worried. I really was. My older daughter like tried to choke the little one. I mean, not really, but just aggression because she's frustrated. She doesn't understand why her life went from having gymnastics and riding, and she's still riding, but activities and being away from her sister to being on her sister following her around like everywhere she goes, and she has no space, and she has no schedule, and no schedule is good in some ways, but all the time it's hard, and it makes it hard for us because I have tremendous guilt. We're really lucky to have that our nanny has lives with us, but I have tremendous guilt about leaving them, and now it's been horrible because I am working a lot more, and this separation anxiety has been incredible. I mean, on my ankle, sobbing like the world is ending, when I leave. So that's going to be the hard that's the hard next steps.
Yeah. And what for you personally, like when everything's open and you can do anything, what are you most excited for?
I think to go back to the restaurants and really support, the local restaurants and my own restaurant. But, I've really learned a lot in this time, and I really, really love like smaller groups. I'm really comfortable with smaller groups. I realize that now. I think I know what's important to me and who's important to me. I've been much better about reaching out to the people who mean a lot to me, and I don't know. I'm not really, other than working and okay, like I'd love to go see a movie, but that's not going to happen for a while. So the drive-in movies this summer, which is great. We tried to do it, but we sadly can't. But it's. I don't think my life will change too much. It's just maybe seeing more friends, which I'm like is really my dream. I love entertaining at my house, so I'm hoping that we can have 10 friends instead of 3.
Yep. My college roommate I saw is on here, and he panicked 2 years ago when you guys, the rosé shortage happened out in the Hamptons.
Shortage,
what are we thinking for this summer? Are we going to be okay?
We're going to be okay. Don't worry. We are selling at a lot more online than we ever have.
Okay.
Because of obviously because of this. I just saw that. But there's no shortage. We do not want to run out either.
Yeah. And any new products that you guys launched this?
I wonder if I can announce it on here.
You don't have to.
No, we are working on a new cider. It's a low alcohol cider, so you can drink more of it, called Loro. So that's coming, and we're working on a botanical cider that will also be launching this summer. So that's
a lot going on.
Interesting taste, different feel to it. the beauty of having a small brand like we do, I mean, a small brand relatively like we do, is that we get to launch new products all the time. And that's my specialty and my favorite thing to do.
Nice. Well, great. Thank you so much for joining, and go enjoy the rest of, the beautiful day. And hopefully